Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session on how to crack GDPI and WAT for B schools. I understand that a lot of you here are MBA aspirants, are also people who've never probably given an entrance exam for the MBA program and are still looking out at various options that you can go forward and pursue. My name is Anju. I will be your host for the day, and this particular exclusive session presented by Rishud University and Festa Marketing is an attempt to educate students on what are the various aspects that you can keep in mind when you're talking about group discussions or personal interviews or even writing assessment tests as part of selection processes across B schools. Um, so one thing that's generally common across various places, across various selection processes, is that selection processes are generally divided into two aspects. So you have one wherein you are tested on your aptitude test. That could be that could be your CAT exam, that could be something like SNAP. It could also be something like a MAT or any of these entrance exams that are conducted by various bodies. The aptitude test typically assess you on your academic prowess. They assess you on how good you are when it comes to timing, how good you are in terms of problem solving or looking at a problem very critically and are able to solve it at a better time. They are nowhere a certain measure of how your communication could be. They're nowhere a measure of what your thought processes is, and likewise. And the GDPI, or the second sections in all of these B school selection processes, is something that tests you on this. It tests you on what is your knowledge base. It tests you on how many examples can you quote. Are you comfortable with management jargons? If someone throws a question at you about cryptocurrencies and Ethereums, are you comfortable with that conversation? Or if someone throws at you a very abstract topic or a very abstract conversation on, you know, a pink flag on a blue temple, if you're asked something like that, what is your perspective? How will you be able to communicate the essence of that particular sentence? So there are a lot of ways in which selection processes are molded in order to assess students in terms of their thinking capacities at that particular point of time, how sharp you are you someone who can understand situations immediately, or if you are someone who doesn't know about the topic, can you get cues from the other person who's next to you and probably build on it as well? So there are various communication and there are various other aspects in terms of your knowledge of facts, in terms of your knowledge of uh, talking points, presentation, what is your body language. All of these things can be assessed and they matter a lot. These soft skills, these qualitative skills of yours matter a lot when you come into a B school as well. So we're going to be discussing some of these aspects. We're going to take a very different approach to this. So we're not gonna we're gonna try and see that we don't give you, five tips to become wonderful. No, that's not the idea about the entire topic today. The idea is, how do I understand group discussions? How do I understand this entire process? What are the various examples? We'll take cues from various organization case studies. What have companies done? How have they grown? How have they gone ahead as well? And from that, we'll build on to our fodder in terms of going ahead and moving with these sections. To deal with this topic today, I have with me our panelist, our speaker, Mr. Shankar Mulithan. Shankar is an acclaimed leadership coach and educationist. He's been guiding students for more than 2 decades in GDPI preparation, in international consulting. He helps and guides numerous students every year to get into their dream universities, helps them understand which university is good for them and which is not. A lot of his students have made it to Ivy League colleges across the country and abroad as well. And I'm sure with his wealth of knowledge, he's a visiting faculty with a lot of top B schools. With his wealth of knowledge, I'm sure you'll be able to gain in a better perspective into this topic. Shankar, I'm not going to take a lot of time. We have quite a sizable audience today who are waiting to listen to you. And I'm sure that we'll be able to gain a lot from you as well. Thank you so much. All yours.
Good evening, Anju ma'am. Thank you so much for this wonderful initial introduction. Good evening, all the students here. My name is Shankar. Usually when I talk in webinars, there's a music that goes on the screen that comes talking about my name, etc. I didn't want to take all that time because it's a complete useless waste of time. So I'll give my introduction myself. My name is Shankar. I'm a career counselor for the last 20 years. The first student from India who went to London Business School 15 years back and London School of Economics 15 years back with a full scholarship was counseled by me. So I was responsible in helping him draft the essays, the SOP, statement of purpose, the GMAT examination. I've been training for CAT GMAT for the last 20 years. I'm one of the better faculties for CAT GMAT training. I also happen to be an industry consultant. I did my MBA myself almost 18 years back, and I appeared for the CAT 4 times before doing an MBA. So my first message to all of you today, even before we start the show, my first message to all of you today is, guys, MBA is like marriage. Do it late, don't do it wrong. Okay? That's my first message. MBA is like marriage. Do it late, don't do it wrong. Number two, it's been almost 18 years since I did my MBA. Much has changed after that. Last 18 years, I've been working with corporate companies, consulting companies like Tata Group, Reliance, Citibank, big organizations. I've also been a visiting faculty with SP Jain for 5 years. SP Jain is Bombay's #1 college. I'm basically from Bombay. I've spent almost 25 years in Bombay. Right now, in a place called as Sonipat, which is close to Gurgaon, close to Delhi, just 1 hour drive from Delhi. And I am in Sonipat because I work with Rishi Hood University. We're a new university, only 3 years old. The concept has been there for the last 10 years, but the university is only 3 years old. And we neighbor Ashoka and Jindal, two of the country's finest universities. In fact, we're in Sonipat because they are in Sonipat. None of them existed 10 years back. And today, both of them have become the country's best universities, #1, #2, respectively, and so on. Okay, that's my background, career coach, career counselor. My students have gone to IITs, IIMs. I'm also a GDPI panelist with multiple business schools. So I can, give you a lot of inputs. I've taken interviews myself for B schools and so on. Now, before we come on the topic, how to crack interviews, how to crack group discussions, etc., let's break this into a couple of parts. First and foremost, when I appeared for my CAT for the first time 20 years back, I applied for CAT 4 times, by the way, as I said. And luckily, I was working with a software company called as TCS. So I had TCS at my background. So first time I did not make it. Second time I did not make it. So that's where the point is, guys. Don't rush into an MBA. It's okay. 95% of Indian B schools, the kind of packages they will give you after MBA. 95% of Indian B schools, the kind of packages they give you after MBA. Good networking. Connecting with people like us. I'm available on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn has more than 9,000 people. You'll find CEOs of companies, CEOs of companies, big guys. Good networking with people like us can actually help you get jobs, which perhaps 90% of Indian B schools will not be able to. That's why I repeat what I said. MBA is like marriage. Do it late, don't do it wrong. Having said so, let me set a small context. So 20 years back, when I applied for the CAT for the first time, India had 40 businesses. That's all we had. And today we have 4,000 businesses. No other country in the world, Harvard University in the USA, for the first time they said 100 years back, for the first time they said MBA karega, bada aadmi banega, in English language, of course. Nobody speaks Hindi in Harvard, by the way. Of course, these days the dean is an Indian, the former dean is an Indian. A lot of Indians go there, so obviously Hindi is spoken. But 100 years back, all speaking English. So they, for the first time, spoke about MBA. It's an American concept. Then came to the United Kingdom. Then came to Japan. India, of course, 1991, globalization, liberalization, privatization. We barely had 10 business schools before that. By 1999, 2000, we grew to 40 business schools. Today, we're standing at 4,000 business schools. No other country in this world has grown from 40 to 4,000 in 20 years. We're the only business school which has grown from 40. We're the only country in the world which has grown from 40 to 4,000 business schools in 20 years. COVID has not been a great time for a lot of business schools. Hundreds of them have shut down in the last 4 years. Many have come up also. So the number from 4,000 has come down to 3,500. But the problem is many others are on the verge of shutting down. So question number one, even before we talk about GDPI, question number one, how do you identify a good business school? I think that is something that we need to speak about. I myself been a faculty with a lot of IITs, IIMs, SPGN, Bombay, good institutions. Even now I go and teach in a lot of institutions. I've been working with Rishi Hood for the last 4 months now at a very senior level. I teach here. I also happen to be, instrumental in setting up a venture capital fund, a 50 crore venture capital fund. Many of you, after doing an MBA, might want to start your own business. So I'm your go-to man. We are coming up with a 50 crore venture capital fund. Today's business is not a closed system. You have a capital market outside. If you look at Amazon, Facebook, Apple, all these big companies, they've been started with venture capital support. Amazon didn't exist 20 years back. Facebook, Google, WhatsApp didn't exist 10, 15 years back. Today, they're all doing extremely well. The money came from capital markets. So we're setting a venture capital at Rishi Hood University to help many of you start your businesses. We also have an MBA in entrepreneurship. That's a separate MBA apart from the normal MBA. And I'm also helping Rishi Hood University get placements. So I've been talking to Facebook, Apple, Google, all the big companies to come and pick up my students and so on. But nevertheless, we'll speak about that after some time. So first and foremost, guys, question number one, how do you choose the right business school? Now, let me tell you, 20 years back, 10 years back, in India, at least 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years back, money was the medium. Money was the medium to convey positive news. And this news was responsible in global welfare, social welfare, economic upbringing, companies would do well. Money was a medium to spread news which would lead to welfare, both economic and social. Today, what's happened is exactly reverse. News has become medium to mint the money. Most of the news that you see is all fake news. Yesterday, somebody called me and said, I'm from a news channel, I'm from a leading newspaper company. I will put Rishi Hood University name as the top 5 business schools in India in some goddamn ranking. You have to pay me 1 lakh in cash, black money. All rubbish, guys. Please don't go by these fake news rankings. It's all. How do you choose a good school? Now, most of you might have appeared for the CAT exam. Some of you might be wanting to pay for the CAT exam this year. I mean, I've been training for CAT for the last 20 years. I do it every Sunday out of my own passion. I've been training for GMAT also, helping students study India, study abroad. I'm a counselor, as I told some time back. No good business school will call you and say that I'm a good business. So for students who've appeared for CAT last month, appeared for SNAP last week, appeared for NMAT over the last 2 weeks, appeared for MAT, a lot of schools will be calling you and saying, please apply. I'll give you, Bajaj Pulsar free. I'll give you good scholarship, this, that. Good business schools will never call you and say, I'm a good business school. So cut the call there, not interested. I repeat, the jobs that you can get after doing an MBA from 90 to 95% of Indian business schools, you can get better jobs with good networking. My contact numbers will be put up very soon. There's a Q&A box, by the way, which is there. Don't put your questions right now. At least let me talk for 20 minutes, as the host of this session. You can put up your questions after. I'll be happy handling it. But my contact numbers will be put up after 25 minutes on the chat boxes. Write to me, connect with me on WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, network. So lesson number 2 for today, your network today is your net worth. In today's world, guys, your network is your net worth. So what is your net worth? May not be your father's 500 crore business, it's your net worth. 20 years back, things were different. 30 years back, things were different. One could easily say, you know what, my father's business is worth 500 crores. I'm going to be handling that. You can't say that anymore. Because look at what's happened in the last 20 years. More changes have happened in the last 20 years than what happened in 300 years before that. And more changes are likely to happen in the next 4 years than what happened in the last 30 years. Today, only one thing is constant, change. A lot of group discussions come on change management. We will talk about that. Guys, once again, 20 years back, things were different. B schools, when I appeared for my first group discussion with a very big business school 20 years back, the topic was very simple, India versus Pakistan. Arranged marriage versus love marriage. Those days are gone. You don't get topics. These topics are different. The changing face of global financial trade architecture. Brand India is the elephant dancing. Brand India versus brand China. Globalization, demonetization, etc., etc. So topics have changed. Topics have evolved. The problem is even bad B schools have good topics. So a good GDPI topic does not define a good business. So what defines a good business school, guys? As I said, first and foremost, a good B school will never call you and say I'm a good business school. The problem is no bad business school will call you and say I'm a bad business. So what makes a B school good is a few factors. First and foremost, all good schools are 100% residential campuses. I'll give you an example. We are Rishi Hood University, less than 4 years old. The third batch will start in 2022. There are 2 batches going on here. I already had Mr. Motilal Oswal. Motilal Oswal is one of the country's biggest finance guys. His company, Motilal Oswal Private Limited, is among the top 2, top 3 finance companies. His net worth is huge. He'll easily be among the top 20, top 30 rich Indians alive, perhaps in the top 200 in the world. He was on my campus 2 weeks back, staying in at night at Sonipat ka Thand, because we're close to Delhi, so cold. And he was talking to students in the mess, raat ko 2 baje, because he had a next day morning flight at 6 o'clock, and he came the previous night at 10 o'clock. So he came to us for barely 7 hours. One of the previous institutions I used to work, Mahendra Singh Dhoni came for a guest lecture at 3 o'clock in the night. Now, use some common sense, guys. If you have to have MS Dhoni, Narayan Murthy, Nandan Nilekani, Anil Kumble, Rahul Dravid, if you have to have big people come and talk to you by way of doing a session, if you want, if you have to have big people come and talk to you, how can that happen if it is not a residential campus? I heard Mr. Narayan Murthy gave a lecture almost 20 years back. I still remember that lecture every inch, every minute of it. So guys, a good business school has some features. A, it's a fully residential campus. I'm not saying this because Rishi Hood is fully residential, or SPGN Bombay, where I've taught, is residential, or multiple IITs where I've gone and taught are all residential, or I go to IIT Kharagpur very frequently, I go to IIM Indore very frequently. All of those are residential campuses. But that's not the point. The point is you need to have a residential campus because an Anil Kumble will come only at 8:30 in the evening. He'll be busy for the day. You can't tell him my college is 9 to 5. The problem with 90% of Indian business schools is they don't have hostels. They don't have campuses. And again, COVID times, don't stay in a hostel which is 5 kilometers from the campus. You don't know where to stay, what kind of hygiene requirements there. All good schools have a residential campus. A, B. These days, we're talking of liberal education. Look at the IIM Kozhikode website, IIM Bangalore website, XLRI Jamshedpur. All good business schools today. We talk about music, theatre, dance, drama as electives. There was a time when we used to have marketing, finance, HR. That's all. Now things have completely changed. Let me give you a perspective, guys. 30 years back, this country was different. 65 to 70% of Indians were below the poverty line. India had less than 20 business schools 30 years back. 65 to 70% of Indians were below the poverty line. Literacy rates were not very high. There were only 1 million Indians outside India 30 years back. And much of what I'll be talking for the next 5 minutes can be used in most GDPI, and VAT sessions. So what were we 30 years back? Less than 1 million Indians outside India, 65 to 70% people below poverty line, very low literacy rates, a country, huge population, not at all very ambitious, and we did not have the money or the resources to do. A huge middle class and a huge below poverty line. Less than 1 million Indians outside India. What do you find today? There are 50 million Indians outside India. Every second restaurant in London is offering Delhi and South Indian food. Aishwarya Rai, Juliet Keynes, pregnancy or no pregnancy. Lagan goes for Oscar nomination. The Slumdog has won so many Oscars. I mean, today, every second restaurant in London is offering Delhi and South Indian food. Google has an Indian CEO. Microsoft has an Indian CEO. 75 to 80% of companies in the United States of America are controlled by Indians. Most of the tech companies in the USA are controlled by Indians in the USA, not the Americans, not the Japanese. In fact, after you're done with my session, go to Google and type a word called this frugal innovation. I repeat, frugal innovation. 365 websites will open up. You will find that of these 365 websites that open up, a lot of websites would have been made by Indians in South Korea, Indians in Japan, Indians in Argentina, Indians in America, and not the respective South Koreans, Americans, Japanese, Europeans there. Bollywood is among the biggest industries today in the world. Yeah, there is a place called South Africa, Johannesburg, where the Indian team recently went and lost a lot of matches and came back. A place called South Africa, Johannesburg. Every Sunday morning, a 65-year-old African American illiterate lady takes a bus from a village which is 200 miles or 2 hours of drive from Johannesburg city. Every Sunday, she takes a bus, drives 200 miles in the morning and evening comes back 200 miles. 65-year-old African American illiterate. What does she go for? She goes there to watch a Hindi movie. Now, a team from Harvard University, Harvard does all these researches. A team from Harvard University went there to understand what are you here for, and they found two things. A, she's African American illiterate. The movies happen to be Hindi. The Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan movies. She doesn't understand Hindi. The subtitles happen to be in French. Now, this lady is illiterate, so she can't even read the French subtitles. And a team from Harvard asked her, ma'am, what are you here for? And she said, these movies are meant to be made in such a way. They're meant to be understood in such a way. They're supposed to be understood without being understood. Now, I don't know if it's a comment or a compliment till now, but that is what it is. When Mahesh Bhatt made Ashiki Part 1 30 years back, your parents saw the movie and then, you were born much later. Don't ask them this. But when Mahesh Bhatt made Ashiki Part 1 30 years back, he went from bank to borrow money because Bollywood was not an industry those days. Banks are not giving money to Bollywood companies. Finally a bank agreed and gave him money at 40% interest rate. 40% interest rate. 7 years back, they made Ashiki Part 2. I'm sure most of you have seen the movie and so on and so forth. This time, they did not go to banks. Banks came to them. And the bank said, I will give you, every bank was fighting and said, I will give you loan, I'll give you loan. What's up? Great guy. 0% interest rate. बस आप हमसे लोन ले लो 0% interest rate. Why? Because Bollywood had become one of the biggest industries in the world. And all they said is, before you say Shraddha Kapoor or before you say Aditya Roy Kapoor, before you put on those names, just put a small caption which says, our sincere thanks IDBI Bank, our sincere thanks ICICI Bank. Look at how things have changed. That's the importance of music management, sports management. A friend of mine failed in mathematics 2 times in class 10th. A friend of mine failed in mathematics 2 times in class 10th. 12 years back, he used to work, good morning, I say, how can I help you? He used to work in a call center 12 years back, 25,000 rupees at 27 years of age. Today, he's working with a leading IPL sports management company, leading IPL team as a branding in charge. His salary is 10 lakhs per month, much more than what I get. I'm an entrepreneur, mind you, but his salary is 10 lakhs per month. Now, that's what I'm talking about. That's the beauty today. So, every field, all good MBA schools have to integrate music, theater, dance, drama. So for marketing students, theater is compulsory in a lot of good universities, including IITs, IIMs, and so on. For finance guys, they do psychology. So it is much beyond a major and a minor. It's about majors, minors, electives all put together. Much has changed, guys. In the late 1990s, A beautiful princess died in a tragic car crash. I don't have a better example to sum up whatever I've been talking for the last 10 minutes. Globalization. The reason why you're sitting here listening to me on MBA karega, bada aadmi banega, or sorry, any MBA versus right MBA, or how to crack GDPI. The reason why we're talking this is that. Who was she, Princess Diana? A British princess. I repeat, her son got married a couple of years back. You know, the great royal British wedding. We're all watching. The son is born. I mean, the child is born. Queen Elizabeth become a great grandmother and so on. Princess Diana, a British princess with a Welsh subtitle. I repeat, a British princess with a Welsh subtitle, with an Egyptian boyfriend who had just replaced a Pakistani. A British princess with a Welsh subtitle with an Egyptian boyfriend who had just replaced a Pakistani, driving a German car with Holland Dutch-based engines. And the driver was a chauffeur, was a Belgian drunk on Scottish whiskey. They were being followed by Italian paparazzi on Japanese motorcycles. And because they were followed by them, they drove so very fast, went into Switzerland where the car crashed and she fell down. An American doctor with Brazilian medicines and Indian naturopathy and juice therapy tried to briefly attempt the recovery and he failed and she died. And the message is given to you by me. My name is Shankar. I was born in a village in West Bengal with no electricity where I was born. Spent 5 years in that godforsaken place, applying Odomos all over the body, no electricity, no mosquitoes. Then went to Calcutta, then Bombay happened, then all over the country, then all over the world. A management consultant, a career counselor, a faculty with top schools, and today talking to you in the evening at 7:20 on GDPI and MBA business school selection. That's globalization, guys. Make no mistakes, we are living in an age of hyper diversity. 500 business schools have shut down in the last 3 years. Be careful. I am a career counselor. I get calls from students who have paid money in some Ghaziabad colleges or Indore colleges or Bangalore colleges. एक साल के बाद college बंद हो जाता है, पैसा भी गया, सब कुछ गया, and now they come to me and say, sir, Rishi Hood में admission करा दो. We can't do that. He has to take a fresh admission. That 1 year is gone. You can't plus the money plus the depression. Be careful, guys. I repeat for the third time, MBA is like marriage. Do it late, don't do it wrong. There are wonderful jobs available today that you can do even without doing an MBA, as long as you do not. I mean, if you choose the right business school, fantastic. So, once again, how do you choose the right school? Great networking opportunities. All good schools. There are 20 plus IIMs in India. I've been to almost every IIM. ISB is India's number one school, ISB Hyderabad. You can't apply, not IBS, okay, that's a different school. We'll talk about that later. ISB, Indian School of Business. You can't apply to ISB unless you have minimum 4 to 5 years of work experience. You have to have 5 years work experience to apply to ISB. That's India's number one business school. Great. There are a lot of, so a good business school will always have freshers and work experience together. Go to IIM Ahmedabad, 70. I'm talking of the 2-year program. Not they also have a 1-year program for which 7 years work experience is compulsory. I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of the 2-year program. 70% people have come from Infosys, Wipro, TCS, McKinsey, Mahindra, British Telecom. 5 years of work experience. Then they've come. They've taken CAT 4 times. Then they've come. 30% of freshers. People like you, final year Delhi University graduates who just cracked the CAT. CAT or that have gone. Could be schools usually have a 50-50 diversity. 50% students are those who come from business families, 50% come from middle class, like many of you. 50% have work experience, 50% do not have work experience. Male-female ratio again, 50%. And most importantly, guys, good B schools have people from India, from abroad. I mean, Rishi Hood is less than 4 years old, third batch will start. I already have Dubai applications, I already have Singapore, Philippines, I already have Vietnam, I already have, you never know, I'll be having European applications very soon happening. Diversity of Indian international applications is important. Last point, all good schools have one thing in common. I would say India today has only 40 good business schools. Why only 40? Because only 40 schools in India have a 1-year program and a 2-year program inside the same campus. Only 40 schools have a 1-year and 2-year program inside the same campus. So I have a 32-year-old guy. Perhaps he's married. Perhaps he's got children. I don't know. I've not spoken to him much. I only joined 3 months back. I've only taken 3 classes till now for my MBA students. I have a 32-year-old guy studying on my campus. 32 years. He's doing a 1-year program. And I have a 2-year program. And they're in the same campus. It's a beautiful 25-acre residential campus next to Ashoka and Jindal, 2 of the country's finest universities. Now, the fact that I have a 32-year-old uncle, sorry for saying that, no, I was telling you a few years back, by the way. The fact that I have a 32-year-old wearing a half pant, having food in the canteen, staying in the same hostel as the 2-year guys, and attending lectures. Tomorrow, when Mahendra Singh Dhoni comes, when Motilal Oswal had come last week, when Kiran Bedi came 2 weeks back, when Anuradha Podwal ma'am, T-Series, the country's biggest music management company, when she was on campus a few weeks back, they all sit together in the same auditorium and they ask questions. So when you have a Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, cricket stars, when you have Bollywood stars, Amir Khan, when you have, people from industry, Mahindra, all these big guys, Nandan Nilekani, Mahindra and Mahindra Sonar, Mr. Uday Kotak from Kotak Mahindra, when all these guys come and talk, the first year, second year students sit in the same auditorium, ask questions. Now, you might say, sir, I am here for a 2-year MBA program. I am a fresher. Why do I even think of a 1-year program? That's the point. The college will get you the first job, guys. I can get you a first job even without doing an MBA. So beware of doing it from some Nallaya Pallaya college. But nevertheless, networking can help you get a good job even today, much better than what most business schools offer. But nevertheless, college can help you get the first job. Who will get you the second, third, fourth, fifth job? Or who will help you get 5 crores to start your business? Who will help you make the next Amazon? India is today having more unicorns than any other country in the world. We have 200 plus unicorns. Who will help you get into these big understandings? It is the network which you develop. 2 years of an MBA. Imagine if the college also has a 1-year program. Each year you have at least 30, 40 uncle aunties passing out. I have 30 kids in my 1-year program. I don't call them kids, but they're kids. Some of them are 30, 32 years old. You need to work with them. They will help you get your second, third, fourth job. Guys, net to work today is your net to worth. We spoke about that some time back. Look at all these factors. Yesterday, somebody called me and said, sir, I am Vishakhapatnam. They don't have a 1-year program. Vishakhapatnam is not a good ecosystem. Please careful. There's no point. Now I am Rohtak. I mean, I sit at Sonipat, 1 hour from Delhi, half an hour from Rohtak. There's an I am in Rohtak. Where does it exist? It exists inside the campus of Maharishi Dayanand University, which means the Rohtak IIM students will be having breakfast, chai, dinner with the Maharishi Dayanand students. Now, God save them, guys. Ecosystems matter. Please understand, even the best universities today in the worst ecosystems are not doing well. There are plenty of examples. Many old colleges have died, others might very soon die. Creative disruption is what we're in the midst of. Flame University did not exist 8 years back. Today, it's among the country's best universities. I was with Flame for the last 5 years, by the way. Ashoka University did not exist, the undergrad program 10 years back, 8 years back. Today, they're the number one in the country. So, a lot of new emerging schools are doing well. People like me are helping them do well, and so on. So, guys, choose the right school. Now, this is where the process of GDPI, etc., comes into picture. Now, there are two things you need to understand here. Why does a college conduct a GD? Again, I'm not talking about the average college. I told you, good school, fully residential campus, diversity. Another problem with 90% of Indian business schools, they get students only from UP, Bihar, Odisha, Bengal, Jharkhand. That is it. Now, I've stayed in Lucknow myself. I've taught with IIM Lucknow myself. I've stayed in Lucknow for 5 years. Now, that does. Please understand, you cannot have a business school which has students only from 5 states. 90% of most of the business schools in Delhi, NCR, Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, most of the business schools have one thing in common. 90% kids only come from these places. There are B schools in Pune. My library in Rishod is much bigger than the entire campus of these schools. Innocent students from UP, Bihar don't understand. They go to these colleges, no diversity whatsoever, and they have I mean, if you have to get good morning ICICI, how can I help you? You can get that today. Why do you need to? Jawani ke 15 saal, 15 lakh rupees dene ki zarurat hi nahi. So identify a good B school also has diversity, guys. 50% from metro cities, international students, and of course the remaining 50% will be from Indore, Bhopal. The metro kids learn from the non-metro kids, and the non-metro kids learn from the metro kids. Diversity is very important, guys. Make no mistake, Kapil Dev and Mahendra Singh Dhoni, two of the most successful Indian ODI and T20 captains, actually came from places which were not known. Kapil Dev was from a remote village in Haryana. He did not even know to talk English before he played. Even after he became captain, he did not talk English. He had to have a trainer to teach him. And we all know Jharkhand today is famous because of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Nothing else. There's nothing else in Ranchi apart from Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So one needs to be careful. And make no mistake, guys, we are in India. Look around us. We're not a country like America where half the population is English, half the population is Spanish. We're not a country where half the population talk religion one, half the population religion two. Here in India, guys, we are home to 18 religions known to mankind. 18 plus religions known to mankind. Look around us, caste, culture, people from different caste, creed, color, culture, cuisine, costume, contour, context. Yet they have a common consensus. Diversity. There are a lot of group discussions that test whether you know or not the meaning of diversity. And I'm here to quote a beautiful statement. Amartya Sen, some of you would know Amartya Sen, the first Indian to win a Nobel Peace Prize in economics. A student, so I was a GDPI panelist 5 years back, and the topic was how important is diversity in a country's progress. People spoke multiple things. One student gave this example. We gave him full marks and we gave him full scholarship. This is the first time in that university that these days things have changed. Everybody gives. At Rishihood, we put up on the website more than 19 CAT, more than 19 ZAT, more than 19 GMAT, full scholarship, 95 in maths, GMAT, full scholarship. I want 90% of my kids to come on scholarship and 40% come on full scholarship. It's not just Rishihood, that's how Flame, that's how Ashoka, that's how all good schools today function. But 7 years back, 6 years back, scholarships were not the big thing. I was on the panel of a business school which never gave a scholarship till this student happened. The topic was about diversity, and this kid gave a fantastic example, and I quote. He said, No better example of diversity than Amartya Sen. He's the first Indian to, Dr. Amartya Sen, stays in the US and UK, first Indian to win a Nobel Peace Prize in economics. And BBC, British Broadcasting, once asked him, sir, tell us something about yourself. Interview question, tell us something about yourself. You know what Amartya Sen? He said, my name is Amartya Sen, Dr. Amartya Sen. I am an Asian, an Indian citizen, a Bengali with Bangladeshi ancestry, an American and British resident. I'm also an economist, a dabbler in philosophy, an author, a Sanskritist, a man, a feminist, a heterosexual, but a firm believer in gay and lesbian rights, also a firm believer in democracy and secular values, from a Hindu, non-Brahmin, non-religious background, and a firm believer in before life and afterlife. All this is one person. And he said, hang on, wait. I won the Nobel Prize in 1978, not because of me, but because of a colleague of mine. Her name also is important. Now, this lady, who's like a sister, who had a friend who helped him with the Nobel Prize, they worked together. This lady, she's an American citizen with 50% African, 50% West Indian, Caribbean ancestry and origin. She's a woman, she's a Christian, but a liberal, a vegetarian, a long distance runner. She's also a jazz musician, theater lover, environmentalist, tennis fan, a heterosexual, again firmly believes in gay and lesbian rights, also believes in democracy and secular values, and she's somebody who believes that aliens exist in the outer space outside the Milky Way solar galaxy, and it is very important to talk to these aliens, preferably in English language. All this is one person. Now, whether you have an understanding of what is happening in the world around, whether you can talk diversity, globalization, facts, figures, GST, demonetization, whether you understand these things or not, is what a good business school tests you in group discussions, personal interviews, etc. Make no mistakes, guys. The topics will remain same. Be it a good school or a lexicon mile. These schools, good schools, bad schools, old schools, new schools, all of them have the same topic. What kind of topics normally come in G? These topics are of two categories. One is current affairs. We spoke on globalization. I gave Princess Diana. We spoke on diversity, how countries do well, democracies, dictatorships, current affairs, what's happening. Donald Trump versus Narendra Modi, Pandit Nehru versus Narendra Modi. Current affairs about social, legal, economic, political, technological, current affairs based topics on what's happening in the world. Those are a couple of topics. You also get topics which are abstract. By the way, make no mistakes, these days group discussions have gone. Instead, you have essay writing. Because on Zoom, I can't conduct a GD. It all becomes a fish market. I mean, as it is, I could not do a GD, making 10 people sit, they would all fight. Zoom with all the more. So, all good B schools, including the University, we have changed the GD. IIM Ahmedabad did it for the first time 8 years back. They conducted a case study or an essay writing. So, all good B schools have shifted GD. The fact that a B school has a GD itself says it's a bad business school. Common sense. So, guys, good schools will never call you and say I'm a good school. No bad school says I'm a bad school. So, be careful about that. Okay, good schools have shifted from group discussions to essay writing. Topics for essay writing can be broken in two parts. A, current affairs. We spoke about some topics: diversity, demonetization, service sector. The Americans invented, Japanese imitated, Germans manufactured, British administered, but nobody served. And lo and behold, India is the hub of innovation. India is the hub of service sector. The service sector is a prime mover of an economy, information opening. So these can be current affairs topics that you talk about. You can also have topics which are abstract. From a caterpillar to a butterfly. What is a caterpillar? Black, ugly, crawling caterpillar, becoming a wonderful, colorful, glorious, and if I may say, sexy butterfly. But does the caterpillar become the butterfly overnight? No, it doesn't. First, it's called metamorphosis process. First, the caterpillar becomes blind. Second, its hands and legs all fall off. Now imagine you're a caterpillar. You're told you'll become blind, your hands and legs will fall off. The body bursts and the wings emerge. Many caterpillars die in the process. They can't withstand the pain. Only 50% withstand the pain, but they become wonderful, glorious butterflies. The topic is not about caterpillar, butterfly. No one cares. The topic is about change. Change is beautiful. Change is painful, but change is also constant. And then talk about companies which underwent it. I am a career counselor. 20 years back, when I went to SPG in Bombay for the first time, a student told me, sir, you know what? I have a father's business worth 500 crores. Why should I even do an MBA? You can't say that today, because today, if your father's business is worth 500 crores, there is no guarantee that the business will last 5 years from now. On the contrary, if you do a good MBA with guidance of good teachers like me, good entrepreneurs like me, good networking professionals like me, and a couple of my other faculty colleagues. I'm talking to faculty today with Babson University, Stanford University, Harvard University. Rishi Wood has just tied up with a London-based university sometime back. So you have an option of spending 1 year in India, 1 year outside India. You can go to best of universities in UK. All good B schools have international immersion opportunities. We talk about the changing face of global financial trade architecture. Make no mistakes. IIM Ahmedabad was formed as a direct joint venture 40 years back with one of the best universities in the West. A good big school needs to send you abroad free of cost more often than not. You got to only pay for the ticketing, the air ticketing, and the boarding and lodging. And let me tell you guys, we are in globalization. Bombay Singapore tickets have become more economical than Bombay Delhi tickets if you book them in advance. LG, Lucky Gold Star, not Life is Good. You'll screw up the GD otherwise. LG, Samsung, GE, Pepsi, Sony, Coke, Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, Acer, Intel, Dell, Deloitte, Aditya Vikram Birla, Reliance, plenty of companies, American, Indian, South Korean, Japanese, plenty of companies. But all of these companies have one thing in common. What do they have in common? They launch their products and services on the same day in US, UK, Germany, Japan, Canada, France, India, Singapore, Australia, sometimes even New Zealand and Somalia. Geography has become history. The world has become flat, borderless, Walmartized, globalized, Pizza Hutized, McDonaldized. If I may say this, sorry, on national TV, boyfriendized and girlfriendized. We're living in a hyper competitive world, guys. We're living in a hyper globalized world. 20 years back, things were different. You could say my father's business worth 500 crores, I will earn it, not anymore. Let's appreciate, let's understand this. There was a company called Motorola. They invented the world's first mobile phone. Company is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. For 80 years, technology meant Motorola. 80 साल तक technology का अगर कोई समानार्थी शब्द था, तो वो था Motorola. It was bigger than IBM. It was bigger than Microsoft. Every other company. The company is dead. Doesn't exist. It's called Google Motorola, Lenovo Motorola, my Motorola, your Motorola, his Motorola, her Motorola. Cannot be called only Motorola. Company is dead. Enron, WorldCom, Nokia. Nokia was selling more mobile phones than any other company in the world for 30 years. Company is dead. Doesn't exist now. It's called Microsoft Lumia. I mean, Nokia made Lumia, and nobody says it's Microsoft Nokia Lumia. It's Microsoft Lumia. Huge companies like Nokia, WorldCom, Arthur Andersen, Tyco, Motorola, Xerox. The first photocopying machine was invented by them. Even today, you don't go to a shop and say photocopy dena. Aap kya bolte ho? Bhaiya Xerox dena. They invented the world's first photocopying machine. Company is dead. It's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Today, you all know of Canon photocopiers. Nobody talks about Xerox. Even the brand is gone. It's just gone. Kodak. They invented the world's first camera. Company is dead. Today, we are not talking about some huge brands which existed 30 years back. They've all died today. They've all joined the Museum of Corporate Dinosaurs. So what is the guarantee that your father's business, which is today 500 crores, might even survive 5 years or 10 years from now? On the contrary, if you understand how stuff like digital marketing, stuff like, liberal education, elective-based model, interdisciplinary learning, venture capital, entrepreneurship, leadership, if you understand how stuff like this function, trust me, you can take your father's business from 500 crores to 5,000 crores in 5 years from now. We call this business scale-up. If a business is not scalable, it doesn't deserve to exist, guys. So you talk about change. That's caterpillar butterfly. Change is the only constant thing, but change is beautiful, change is positive, but change is also very painful. There's nothing called as painless change. At least I have seen in the last 20 years of my corporate career. I mean, I've been doing a lot of consulting with family businesses, companies. There's nothing called as painless change. It has to be that painful change which you undergo. Topics like that. There are also a lot of topics on essay writing and interviews which test whether or not you read newspapers well. When I have a program called as profile building, I'll talk about that in the next 5 minutes. But in that profile building program, there are 20 Zoom sessions. I would like some of you to be part of that. I already have a lot of DU kids who are part of that. In those 20 Zoom sessions, I do one session on how to read business newspapers. There's a session I do on how to read business newspapers. How do you read business? Because you need to understand, unless you read business newspapers at least 20 minutes a day and study magazines, not India Today, business magazines. I'll give you a list of all those links and videos that you can do to crack GDPIs and so on. Spend half an hour every day with that. Trust me, that's going to help you big time. So in that, you will find a lot of these terminologies coming in. A lot of topics on GD interviews test whether or not you have focus in life. Now, remember this, all group discussions, all presentations, all essay writings, all case studies, life in general tests you on only one thing, whether I am different from the others or not. How different am I from the others? Now, this is the topic. For example, there might be a topic which says entrepreneurs are made. They may not be born. Absolutely, entrepreneurs are made. In Hindi they say Haveli ki umar 60 saal. That's it. Entrepreneurs are definitely made. They may not be born. Now, what do you talk in this topic? You talk about some great entrepreneurs. Dhirubhai Ambani, sir, India's #1 entrepreneur, Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. I'm sure you guys have heard about him. His son's name is Mukesh Ambani, Anil Ambani. His grandson's name is Akash Ambani, Anmol Ambani, and so on. The late Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. Now, imagine this. He was a municipal school teacher's son. And he told his father for the first time, "Father, I want to start a business." His father said, "Get lost. Municipal teacher's son will become a teacher." So Ambani had to sort of not exactly give up, but take a fight with his father. He went to Gulf. Aid in Gulf. He was there for 10 years in Gulf, and then he comes back to India. He was doing all odd jobs, and he was a petrol pump attendant, writing cashier receipts, all grade 4 jobs that we do. Today, no MBA, no graduate, even a class 12 kid will not want to do those jobs. He went to Gulf, spent 10 years doing this, and came back to India. He was standing on the streets of Bombay. He was sitting on a chair and standing on the streets of Bombay, selling kapda, kapda, kapda. Imagine hundreds and thousands of textile leaders. I'm talking of the year 1958. India was a different country, guys. 75 to 80% of India was much below. In fact, 90% of India was below poverty line. Literacy rates were 10%. Life expectancy was 35 years. I'm talking of India in 1958. He was standing on the streets of Bombay selling textiles, kapda, 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 buy one, get one, buy one, get one. Then he goes to a bank, Punjab National Bank, huge, big public sector bank, and says, Bank, I want loans. I want to start my own business. I don't want to sell somebody else's. I want to make and sell. He was the first person to say, make in India. What the Prime Minister keeps talking about it now. It's a wonderful concept, by the way. He said, I want to make in India. And in 1958, you know what the bank manager did? He looked at him as if kidney mang liya. In 1958, India did not have car loans and home loans and debit cards. In fact, the world did not have that. Because banks all over the world only did two things, savings and deposits. This Valentine's Day, that is 15 days from now, a bank in the US is going to come up with a novel concept, girlfriend loan. But 50 years back, these things don't exist. Banks were not into any of these things. So the bank manager said, sorry, boss, we don't give loans. 6 months, Mr. Ambani kept on going to the bank for 6 months, saying, bank paise, bank paise, bank paise. Finally, after 6 months, the human being inside the manager got more than the finance guy. And the manager said, boss, have a cup of water, sit and tell me what you want. Ambani opened up his book and said, sir, thank you very much for talking to me after 6 months. This is my plan. This is my book. This is what I want to loan from you of 10,000 bucks. Those days, 10,000 almost equal to 5 crores, 6 crores of today, maybe more. He opened up his book and said, sir, today I'm standing on the streets of Bombay selling textiles. With your money, with my money, I will shift from textile trading, textile manufacturing, women textiles, only women. Remember those days? Your parents will know. But I'll not keep quiet. Hang on. From manufacturing textiles, I'll move up textile intermediaries, 5 more years, bulk intermediaries, 5 more years, refining, 5 more years, oil exploration, 5 more years, petrochemicals, 5 more years, bulk trucks, 5 more years, infocom, 5 more years, telecommunication, and 5 more years, entertainment services. That's exactly what Reliance has done in the last 50 years. Today, it's the country's #1 company, top 5 in the world, and so on and so forth. The vision is what the founder had 60 years back. I think that is the kind of vision. A good B school will always test whether you have that vision or not. I am here to help you get that vision, guys. Don't worry about that. I've got a program called as Profile Building. This is my personal program. Rishi Hood is the first university in the country to have a profile building program. No IIT or IIM helps you convert some other call. I do that. So it is a profile building program, 20 Zoom sessions exclusively on how to crack GDs, how to crack interviews. I've been a GDPI panelist myself. We talk about how to read business newspapers. We do some sessions on the MAT and the CMAT exam. For example, some of you might have screwed up with your CAT. I know a lot of you might have screwed up with your CAT. I don't want to ask your CAT scores and embarrass you. A lot of you would have screwed up with your CAT. So we do sessions with those people on how to crack CMAT, how to crack MAT, 4 to 5. Guys, one thing is clear. No business school will give you admission without 85 percentile in MAT. So if you have Joker, Nallaya, Pullaya, Malaya business schools calling you and saying, please apply, my form is free of cost, I will come to the home and sell the form like many of them do, say sorry. There has to be a cutoff. Rishi Hood is 4 years old and I have a cutoff of 85 percentile in math. Of course, I have my own entrance exam, but you still have to get 85 in math if you need to be eligible for full scholarships. So I will be doing some sessions, 3 to 4 sessions on shortcuts on CMAT, math. Nobody, no Unacademy, no IMS Times CL might be having, because I myself done CAT training for the last 20 years and so on. So there will be some sessions on how to crack aptitude. There will be some sessions on group discussions, interviews. Most importantly, there will be 3 sessions on how to write a strong SOP, statement of purpose. Now, even before I get into that, my suggestion, my contact numbers have been put up on the chat box. In the next 2 or 3 minutes, my colleague will put up a screen which will have my phone numbers also. Connect with me on WhatsApp immediately, guys. Connect with me on WhatsApp. My name is Shankar Mulithan. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, network. I told you, if you don't make it to a good school, I can help you get a job which 95% of Indian schools will not be able to give you, having taken 10 lakhs from you, having spent 2 years of your life. Please network. Guys, the country has changed. Ask your parents what India was 30 years back. They had to wait for 7 years to buy a landline phone. That's 30 years back. They had to wait for 7 years to buy a Bajaj two-wheeler. Because those days, 1990s, 1980s, 70s, out of 100 two-wheelers sold in the market, 95 were scooters, 90 were Bajaj scooters. Things have completely changed now. So when you have a topic for GD which says entrepreneurs are made, not born, or when you have a topic which says innovation is more important than invention, give these examples. Talk to them. Tell them, technologies do not discover markets. Markets discover technologies. Make a statement like this, write in the GD, write in the interview, write in the essay writing, write in the SOP. Technologies don't discover markets, guys. Markets discover technologies. Except Coca-Cola, 1885, 4 years before Nehruji, 4 years before Hitler, 4 years before PepsiCo, 1885, a company was born called as Coca-Cola Bottling Foods. Today, it is the only company in the world in the last 200 years of history of the corporate world, in fact, 300 years from East India Company till date, no other company in the world has made something for the first time, eureka, invention, and still number one in that. Apple made the first laptops, iPads, iPods. There are times when Nokia and Motorola, even though they're bankrupt now, there are times when they've made more money than Apple. Today, Samsung and LG, etc., make more money than Apple does. A lot of other companies, Dell Computers today is making more money than Apple does. IBM has done that in the past. The Americans made the first television. Today, no American company makes television. The Americans make the first sofa, chadar, birthday, kapde, washing machine. Today, no American company. The American made the first four-wheeler, Ford Motors. Today, Tata has acquired Jaguar from Ford. Can you beat that? I mean, I remember 150 years back when Jamshedji Tata went to the British and said, I want to start something, a company of my own in steel. The British viceroy said, sir, you are Indians, you can only do yes sir, no sir, salam sir. I'm talking to this on the Republic Day evening. He said, you Indians are useless people, only salam sir, yes sir, no sir. You guys can only do coolie jobs. You guys can't become entrepreneurs. And he jokingly said, the British viceroy said, Jamshedji sir, whatever steel you make, aap jitna loha banayenge, whatever steel you make, my wife and 3 saal ki bachchi, my wife and 3-year-old kid will eat off that steel. 150 years back. And what happened 8 years back? Tata acquired a company called as Chorus. Chorus was a big company from Brazil. Tata acquired them for almost $12 billion. 1 billion mein 9 zero hote hain sahab. $12 billion. 12 billion dollars. Huge money. Tata, no other company in the last 75, 80 years of history of independence India, no Reliance, no Parle, no Videocon, no Indian company has acquired a foreign company worth $12 billion. They've done that. People don't know is the fact that by acquiring Chorus, they also acquired a company called as British Steel, which once upon a time was their number one company. Today lies controlled in Bombay and Delhi by the Tata Group. Jaguar today is controlled by Tata. So things changed, guys. We have changed. There are topics which test you whether you know those changes or not. But the first step, all good business schools, guys, ask for an SOP, statement of purpose. Some of you might have got a 99 in CAT, would have got an IIM Ahmedabad call. When you go to IIM Ahmedabad or when you take the Zoom call of IIM Ahmedabad, 2 days before the actual interview, they will make you write an SOP. It is a 1,000-word document about yourself. It is called PI form, personal interview form. All good schools, Flame, Brishihud, Ashoka, all good universities, IITs, IIMs, they all will ask for an SOP. And SOP means statement of purpose. So I will share with you. So there's a program called Profile Building I told you some time back. We do sessions on aptitude, sessions on how to crack GDs, interviews, 20 Zoom sessions, how to read newspapers, what online programs to do. You have to build your profile. Some of you have a 19 CAT, some of you have a 16 CAT, but 85 in math. How do you still build your profile? Online programs. Return test is done after the 85 in CAT or math. No one's going to ask you. And please don't join a business school that doesn't have a cutoff, because let me tell you, I'm talking to Amazon, I'm talking to Facebook, I'm talking to Google, I'm talking to Apple, I'm talking to big companies today. They have 2 conditions. They want to come to my campus and pick up my students at 15, 20 lakh rupees, MBA kids. 2 conditions. They don't want MBAs. They want MBAs with an entrepreneurial mindset. So they want MBAs to make a business plan and present as if it will be the owner. So they want to hire entrepreneurs. They don't want to hire employees. You will get salary, but you will still work as an entrepreneur. Companies today, 5,000 companies want to hire in the world, 500 in India, want to hire entrepreneurs. We call this intrapreneurship, technapreneurship. Things have changed. We call this integrating technology, entrepreneurship, and employability. Companies want to hire intrapreneurs. Yeah, and they also want people who can understand MBA education, marketing guys who know theater, finance guys who understand psychology. I've got a psychology elective, by the way. They want to hire operations guys or international business guys who understand music, theater, dance, drama, and who also know a couple of foreign languages. Look at what companies are expecting today. They want diverse profiles. You can't blame them, because after COVID, the world is different. Company after company is falling down. Every year today in the US, UK, Germany, Japan, Canada, France, Singapore, Australia, India, every year, hundreds of companies, because of startup ecosystems, because of unicorns, people like me helping you get jobs at Google, Amazon, after MBA from Rishwood at 15, 20 lakh rupees or whatever, maybe more. Because of all these things, every year startups happen. There are 1,000 companies that start in the year because funding is available. People like me can help you get crores of rupees of funding. I was part of the team in some capacity which made the world's first, smallest and least costly water filter. I was also part of the team in some capacity which made the world's smallest and least costly diabetes testing machine, both by Indians, by the way. Lo and behold, today an Indian has gone to America and he talks about a company called as Moon Express, the first space tourism company, holiday and honeymooning on moon. It's a different world we're living in today, guys. Appreciate, understand that. So every year in the US, UK, Germany, Japan, Canada, France, there are 1,000 new companies get started because of startup ecosystems that there. Everybody wants to become a Google, Facebook in 10 years. By the end of the year, of these 1,000 companies, 900 don't survive; they die. 3 more years of the remaining 100 companies, 80 die, and 3 more years of the remaining 20 companies, 17 are below average, 2 are above average, only one is exceptional. Success by default is the property of the outlier, not the core. If I'm at the core, if I'm doing what everybody else is doing, I will never succeed in life. Now, whether you are different or not is what the SOP tests you. So my profile building session, I give you sample SOPs of my students who made it to IIM, Harvard, Stanford over the last 15, 20 years. I've been doing this for 20 years now. You will read those sample SOPs. So there are various WhatsApp groups. I call them profile building, 1, 2, 3, 4 till 1,000. I'll put you in one of those WhatsApp groups. No group has more than 25 students. You're part of a WhatsApp group. SOP samples are shared with you. I tell you what online programs to do free of cost so that you can build your profile, what foreign languages to learn. And I also talk about what kind of internships. Don't join a business school as a fresher. Please, for God's sake, don't join a business school as a fresher. Okay, you need to join a business school as somebody who has done at least 2 weeks or 2 months of corporate internship. I can help you get that. So an SOP is a 1,000-word document about yourself. I'll put up samples, you read those, you write an SOP of yours, statement of purpose of yours, send that to me. I have an expert team of 5 people. One of my faculty has been to Cambridge, UK 20 years back, and he's with me for the last 20 years now. We will read your SOP. Imagine 1,000 words about yourself, which you have written based upon somebody else's sample. Don't copy, but take those important points. Write about yourself. I will read 1,000 words about yourself. I understand where you come from. What are your likes, dislikes? I tell you what online programs to learn free of cost, what internships to do. I will help you get that. My LinkedIn has 9,000 people. I'll connect you with multiple like-minded people. The former guy who was the right-hand man of Mukesh Ambani once upon a time. You'll find big people on my LinkedIn, big guys. They help you get internships. I'll also help you what foreign languages to learn. All this, with this, you build your profile, appear for a good GDPI of Rishi or of any other college. 9 or 10 times you crack it, and not just crack, you get good scholarships also. Profile building is a 20 Zoom session program. I don't charge too much for that. We actually charge 1,000 rupees. The Rishiwood application form is the same as the profile building form. We charge 1,000 rupees. So by applying to my Rishiwood application, you also apply to profile building or vice versa. Republic Day, Pongal, whenever we have festive time, we offer huge discounts. I'm a believer in discounts because I come from a buy one get one free retail background. Today, the application is available, the profile building, 20 Zoom session call, 20 Zoom session, what do we call, the process is available at 300 bucks, 70% discount. Now, I don't want to be shouting like Ambani saying, 300 rupees, 300 rupees, 300 rupees, but that is how it is. My office will reach out to you, or you can drop me a text. My WhatsApp numbers have been put up, a screen will be put up very soon. Write a text to me. Start with introducing yourself. Tell us something about yourself. 3 to 4 lines. Say. My name is XYZ. I'm from Delhi University, Bombay University, Bangalore University, Rishiwood University, Ashoka University, Flame University. And I'm thoroughly confused. I don't know what to do. There is no harm. 95% of Asians, including Indians, are highly confused people because the ecosystem makes us highly confused. Nobody is right to that. Also talk about what are your hobbies, interests, 2 to 3 lines about yourself, major confusions in life. I've got a call from IMI Calcutta. Should I go? IMI Bhubaneswar. Should I go? Lexicon Mile Pune. Etc. etc. Mention your confusions, 3 to 4 lines. Let me read that. That's the first step of profile building. Step number 2, I will give some suggestions based on that. I'll send you a scan code. Do that. 300 bucks is all that you pay. But guys, I'm going to close the offer tonight at 12. It's only for Republic Day, so you have 3 to 4 hours. Please make sure. I'm happy if you come tomorrow and pay 1,000 bucks, but I want to avail that in 300 bucks, not 1,000 bucks. You get 20 Zoom sessions. The first one commences day after tomorrow. We put a couple of links also on the group. You can take that. One session can be free, but pay up today. Don't pay up day after tomorrow because you'll pay 1,000 rupees. 20 Zoom sessions on GDPI, aptitude testing, SOB preparation. Most importantly, if you don't make it to a good B school, I can help you create a backup and get a job in a company or do some fantastic internships, which will give you much more than what these Nallaya Polya business schools do. Guys, build your profile. I repeat for the 4th time, MBA is like marriage. Do it late, don't do it. I have known people who have left a job in Infosys, joined a stupid business school in spite of me not asking him not to join. After 2 years coming out and working at a lower salary in the same company than what he left. Neither did the profile change, nor did the company change. Only thing he spent 2 years and 10 lakh rupees. Don't do that, guys. It can get into criminal depression. So relax. You have people, go back to 1893. A young Indian who might be 30 years of age, I'm slightly older by the way, a young Indian who might be 30 years of age, 1893, India was British. Nobody expected us to get freedom, You are the yes sir, no sir guys in their words. Goes to Chicago and stands and says, my dear American brothers and sisters, yes, I'm talking of Swami Vivekananda. He spoke of three things. Come out of your comfort zones. Help, I'm here to help you come out of your comfort zone. Some of you can't talk, profile building will make you talk. Some of you can't write, profile building will make you write. Some of you don't know what to do, profile building will tell you what to do. Some of you really are confused whether you should join your father's business, MBA, study India, study abroad. Profile building will help you do that. So in 300 bucks, I help you come out of your comfort zone. Fight your fears. Number two, I'm here to help you fight your fears. And number three, and most important, he said, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. The goal is a good MBA. Here doesn't matter. At the same time, I understand some of you are desperate. MBA, इसी साल करना है, write a text to me. I'll be very happy, taking those kind of questions also, which will actually help you do an MBA and so on and so forth. So I know some of you are desperate. I can help you do it this year. Don't ask me how, where, but we can talk. We can discuss. I'll build your profile to do that. Last 2 minutes before I go on to the questions, you can now put up your questions on the Q&A box. What does a personal interview test? Make no mistakes, guys. We will do 20 more sessions on GDPR. So relax. I'll do most of them. So please relax on that. What do they test in an interview? I told you once again, a personal interview is all about whether or not you're different from the rest or not. I'll give an example to explain this. Yes, there are some important questions. Tell us something about yourself. Why MBA? And people give answers, sir. The world is changing from unorganized to organized, unbranded to branded. A good MBA will help me do that, etc., etc. But eventually, I can give you all those answers. Don't copy them, take their sense. But eventually, an interview is about seeing how different are you from the others. I'll give an example to you. I was taking an interview of a group of students almost 10 years back. So we had 200 students finally, and we had 10 seats. Okay, those days colleges were very strict. These days, so number of seats go on and on. IIMs can take 300, 400, 500, depending upon how good you are. But those days we had fixed number of seats. Okay, for example, I have 60 seats for MBA. Well, if I get 65 people with CAT 90 plus or MAT 85 plus or CMAT 65, 75 plus, I'll take perhaps all of them with a good scholarship. So these days you can increase number of seats. Those days you couldn't. So we had 200 people, and I had only six seats left. 200 people, only 6 seats left. So all of them had 90 plus in CAT, all of them had equal scores in 10th and 12th, and all of them had similar work experience, or they were good freshers from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Xavier's, Calcutta, very good profiles. So we asked all 200, how many of you can talk a foreign language? 20 said yes, so the remaining 180 said thank you very much, sorry, we did it, but of the 20, we still have only 6 seats. Of the 20 who said we can speak a foreign language very well, we asked them to sing a song in French or Spanish or whatever, they all sang the song. And then we asked these 20 people, why did you learn a foreign language? 14 of them gave weird answers. Sir, globalization. Sir, 50% of all the companies in the world are controlled by European and American brands. McKinsey, you want to do an MBA because you want to work with McKinsey, not TCS. American companies give you more money. In America, Spanish is more famous than English. Europe, French is more famous. So they all gave me crazy reasons. One student gave a fantastic answer. We gave him a full scholarship. Yes, he said, yes, sir, globalization, Japan, China, etc., Japanese, Chinese companies rule the world. So we should talk about, we should talk about Taiwanese, we should talk about Japanese, Sony, so we should learn. But he said, sir, I learned a foreign language because when I was young, when I was 5 years old, this is his answer. He said, sir, when I was 5 years old, my grandmother told me a story. What was the story? The story was, sir, there was a village, thousands and thousands of years back, there was a village in India full of rats. Village full, and I'm talking of thousands of years back, so no rat poison, no machar hit, nothing. Thousands of years back, a village in India full of rats. And these rats were going all around. They were eating, stuff. They were tearing clothes, etc., all bad shaped. The villagers got some cats. There was no electricity, no shocks, nothing. With the villagers got some cats. The cats killed all the rats. One rat escaped. Intelligent female rat. Whenever the cats would stand outside the rat hole, discussing strategy. Okay, the rat will come. I will catch hold of the neck. You take, let's tear apart. How will cats talk? How will cats talk? They will mew. Mew, mew. The mewing would alert the rat, and the rat would never come out. Very intelligent, smart rat. So, of course, female rats multiplied again. It became rats, and finally, all the cats gave up, and they went to a neighboring village where they saw an old cat, and they said, "Old cat, we are all given up. Sorry, youngsters, useless guys. Remember, talent is useless without direction, discipline, harnessing. That's where gray hair helps you. But nevertheless, he said, sorry, we've given up. हमारे हाथ में कुछ नहीं है. आप जरा मदद कर दो, my बाप. Old cat, please help us." Next day morning, the old cat says, relax, I will handle. He asks all the young cats to stay very far. The old cat stands outside the rat hole. You know what the old cat says? The old cat says, woof, woof. The rat thinks the dog. Dushman ka dushman dost hota hai. As long as the dog is there, other cats will not come. So the rat comes unprepared, unalarmed outside to have a friend, and handshake, hand with the so-called dog that the rat thinks. The moment the rat comes out, the old cat pounces, yes, eats off, and the old cat looks at all the young cats and says, guys, when I was young, my grandmom told me a story. One foreign language in life is very important. This happened in front of an interview panel, guys. Crazy. Needless to say, we shortlisted him and gave him full scholarship. I will give you many, many more examples. Okay, I will send notes to all of you, printed copies on WhatsApp on how to crack interviews, GDs. I repeat once again, profile building, $300. Send me a small WhatsApp. I'll connect with you. My numbers are given. Connect with us on WhatsApp. Happy taking it forward. LinkedIn, Insta, network, guys. You're gonna need people like us to help you big time. Make no mistakes, guys. We are the only country in the world which has defied normal logic. An average American today is 35 years of age. In the next 10 years, he'll become 45. Common sense. An average Chinese, Japanese, Britisher, Taiwanese, Singaporean, Malaysian, Australian is today 30 plus, 40 plus. In the next 10 years, he'll become 40 plus, 50 plus respectively. 35 becomes 45, 30 becomes 40, 40 becomes 50, and so on. We are the only country in the world where the average age of an Indian is 27 years. In the next 10 years, it will remain 27. We have defied laws of mathematics also. We're the only country in the world where exceptions run in millions. We're the only country in the world where whatever you say about India, the reverse also is. So use this demographic dividend. Talent is brilliant, but you want to use it well. I'm here to help all of you do well, guys. My name is Shankar. My numbers are given. Get in touch with me. Let the WhatsApp start buzzing. Let the phone start ringing. Happy to help once again. I'll be taking a few questions now. We just left with 5 minutes. So IPM, absolutely. My profile building session will help you do VAT and PI of any university. Okay, it could be the IIMs. I myself taught with the leading institutions. I teach with Rishi Hood today. I'm helping them build a fantastic placement cell and a brilliant entrepreneurship cell. 50 crores of venture capital fund. Let me tell you guys. 13 years back, 14 years back, 40 years back, 50 years back, 100 years back, the world had a very simple philosophy. For the last 400 years, the world's philosophy was simple. It said, rule number 1, the boss is always right. Rule number 2, if the boss is wrong, therefore the rule number 1. And companies for long have been accused to be hierarchical, but times have changed. Today, we have companies which talk about entrepreneurial quotient. LG and Samsung. Things are happening different. 20 years back in India, if you did not do engineering or medicine, it was criminal offense, not anymore. We have an MBA program today, marketing, finance, HR, operations, etc., international business, entrepreneurship, major, minor. But you also have electives, music, theater, dance, drama. You also have psychology, sociology. That's liberal education. My MBA marketing kids and all my MBA students have to study sociology, psychology, theater, dance, philosophy, history, perhaps, literature. These are all electives, major, minor, small flavors, foreign languages. So the point I'm trying to make you understand is, guys, there is a huge change happening. Today, companies are looking at those kind of graduates. Now, unless you study in an interdisciplinary learning, you will not get placed. Amazon tells us very clearly, till the time a student does not have 85 percentile in CAT, ZAT, MAT, CMAT, or NMAT, we don't want to even interview that kid. So tomorrow, when a business school calls you and says 0 percentile CAT, fantastic, please join us, cut the phone down. The GMAT scores are valid for 5 years for a reason, guys. Good B schools will always, I am Ahmedabad cutoff is 98 percentile CAT for the reason because McKinsey will not come. Let me tell you, the average package of IIMs and the average package of top business schools also is not more than 14, 15, 20 lakhs, which means the highest package might be 80 lakhs, but there will be students even in top business schools who will not get a package of more than 8, 10, 12 lakhs. And horrible business schools, don't even talk about that. I know of a guy who actually went to ISB. He left a package worth 18 lakhs, went to ISB, came back, and his package today is only 26 lakhs. And he spent 35 lakhs doing that. No scholarship, and I is the country's #1 college. Be careful of where you go, what you go. All that glitters is not gold, guys. Today, companies want people who are entrepreneurial. They want them to work like entrepreneurs. They will give you profit sharing. And don't worry, they will not give loss sharing, even if you're crazy ideas. They want you to fail. They want you to try, but fail. Even Napoleon Bonaparte, the world's best military general, even he lost 40% of all his battles, but he won the bigger wars. Companies want you to experiment. They want you to fail. That's how you learn and grow. Failure is no longer a taboo. Divorce is no longer a taboo, etc., etc. Things have changed, guys. So Look at good business schools that help you with entrepreneurial questions. Good B schools ask for cutoffs. They ask me to get students who understand marketing with theater, because theater is expression. And if you can't express, how can you be a marketer? They ask me kids with finance who understand psychology, because the biggest industry today in finance is acquisitions, mergers, and joint ventures. One of the highest paid fields, and you need to understand the same team has to do it from the pre-acquisition discussion and debate to the post-acquisition merger and presentation. Psychology becomes so important. Today, there are companies like LG, Samsung, GE, Pepsi, Sony, Coke. They are hiring more psychiatrists and lawyers than MBAs and engineers, or they're hiring MBA guys with psychology background. MBAs guys with sociology flavor. So, guys, the world has changed. I am Bangalore, I am Indore. India's top colleges are all offering an MBA with liberal educational flavor. So those days are gone. So now what I'll do is this: I'll spend 5 minutes and take some questions. I have a question which says specific way to read the newspaper. Yes, there is a way to read the business newspapers. I will do that in my profile building sessions. How to write a good resume to get into internship? We will do that. Don't worry. I have a question: why to choose Rishihood? Why not? I am well. Let me tell you guys. First, let the college choose you. Then you can choose us. Okay? Today morning, I rejected a kid who had a 91 percentile CAT because of attitude. I said, reject. Sorry, not interested. Please apply to 5 universities. Profile building is a 20 Zoom session program. I will help you as a career counselor. I will help you apply to 5 universities. Of the 5 universities, 2 will give you admission, 3 will not give you admission. Even the Tata Birla Ambani families guys have been rejected from a lot of universities. That actually makes you strong. It makes you good. So I will ask you to apply to 5 universities. One of them will obviously be Rishihood, because my faculty will interview you. We'll do it in such a way that the Rishihood interview is just one day before the IIM interview. You might actually fail here, but that will help you do well there, and so on and so forth. Or you may pass here and you'll do much better there. So I'm going to make you apply to 5 universities, guys. 2 will happen, 3 will not happen. Of the 2 that happen, of the 2 that actually select you, 1 will give you a full scholarship. So let the college select you, then you can select them. I think that's the right question you're going to ask, and so on. On which platform can you send SOPs? Wonderful. First, connect with me on WhatsApp. My numbers are given. 3 to 4 lines. You just write 3 to 4 lines about yourself. I'll send you a scan code. Pay $300. Join the profile building program. You're going to be part of a WhatsApp group which is 20-25 students. A lot of questions are discussed on those WhatsApp groups. How do I select the right business school? How do I do the right specialization? A lot of people think I have to be great at maths for doing finance. Not anymore. You can get into good liberal education programs. You can do finance with psychology. Guys, the world has changed. People think that women should do only HR jobs. Crazy, nonsense stuff. There are more women in marketing than there are men in marketing. There are more men in HR than women in HR. There are more HR guys who travel than marketing guys who travel. There are more finance guys who travel than marketing guys who travel. Things have completely changed, guys. In fact, the highest paid field today is HR, training and development. What am I trying to do with you? When clothes get bad, you iron them. When people are confused, you train them. So things have totally changed. How do you need to understand today's world? It's all about building a very, very strong network. How do you build that network? Very simple. First, join my profiling. I will send you my LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Multiple others will be connected to me. Internships, online courses, 20 Zoom sessions. I think that's the way you take it forward. I repeat this for the nth time, guys. 90% of Indian B schools don't even deserve to exist. बरसात से बचने की औकात नहीं है, गोलाबारी की बात करते हैं. Don't fall into the trap of joining a joker business school. I can actually help you get a much better job than what 90% of these jokers can give you. So don't fall in that trap. Many of them have died. Others will very soon die. Creative destruction is what we are in the midst of. Many old institutions have died. And the new age ones, the Ashokas, the Flames, the Jindals, the Rishihoods, who didn't exist 8 years, 10 years back. They're all corporate funded, by the way. Mr. Mukesh Ambani has a Geo University, again for MBA. It did not exist 3 years back. Doing very well. So get a proper feel, get the right guidance. It is sad that so much of information opening is there and people still don't know where to talk, whom to talk. I think that's where profile building becomes so important. $300, use a scan code. Make sure you're part of that next 15, 20 sessions with me or the next 20, 25, 30 days. Either you'll make it to a great business school and thank me, or I'll help you get an internship, which will then lead to a job, and then you can work for 2 years and then do anything. I think that is the way you're going to do it. There are a couple of more questions I can see here. Any scholarship? No, GMAT does not have a scholarship, guys. But what you do is, if you appear for GMAT, again, my LinkedIn, a lot of my GMAT kids have endorsed me because I've helped them get a full scholarship in universities like Harvard also, which only take a GMAT. They don't take a CAT SAT score. So that's where it goes. Fantastic, guys. I think it was a wonderful time having you guys here. It's almost an hour, so I'm sure most of you have other commitments. I deeply appreciate the fact that on the Republic Day, you guys on a holiday, you guys took an hour to listen to me. Deeply grateful to all of you for that. Very soon, I'll be launching the next batch of profile building. 20 Zoom sessions online. I'm doing a demo day after tomorrow. The links have been put up. Please sign up. Either ways, send me a WhatsApp. My numbers have been given. 2 to 3 lines about yourself. That's how we start interacting. Hobbies, interests, and so on. My office will, in any case, get back to you. We will write to you. But before that, do write to us. Send the scan code. Be part of it. The first profile building session starts on Friday. It happens on 1 or 2 weekdays and, of course, the weekends for the next 20, 25, 30 days, 220 sessions. Let the beginning never end. The end shall never begin. Thank you so much, all of you. Any more questions, please write to me on my WhatsApp. Very happy taking this forward. Would like to spend the next 1 month with you on profiling. I'm here to help, guys. Take support, do well. Promise me whatever happens, you will not join a stupid business school. Take a break. It's not criminal to take a break anymore. We have a program I should call as gap year program. So people who don't want to drop and still don't want to, join a bad business school. 80 days. It's only 80 days gap year program. 40 days of learning and 40 days of company internship. So 40 days of academic, 40 days of internship that then helps you get a very good job with our support, which you can keep doing till you then make it to an MBA after 2 or 3 years. All good universities, 80% people who join come from work experience background. So again, not because I'm having a gap year program, you may not even join that, but still you can take a gap and I can help you get into good universities. MBA is not like an MCOM or MSc or MA. Do it late, but don't do it wrong. I think that's where we all come from. And I think empirically we have a very important thing. There are huge people today who will confuse you. There are B schools that will call you day in and day out. There are 2 things you got to ask. A, fully residential campus. B, international and domestic faculty. C, international immersions. Will they send you to Harvard, Stanford for 10 days free of course, 1 month free of cost? Residential campus. Mahendra Singh Dhoni has become more important. Do they have a 1 year and 2 year program in the same campus? I think if all of these factors are put together, we are in business and that is how you apply. But please first get an 85 plus in math or CMAT. Take my help. Deadlines will be there till 31st of March. Don't worry. I know a lot of B schools are calling this in tomorrow deadline, all nonsense, all nonsense. B school after B school are shut down in the last 3 years till 31st of March. Even good schools will have the deadlines till 31st of March. जिनके खत्म होने थे हो चुके हैं. So 2 अच्छे अभी बचे हैं. सबके deadlines 31 March तक हैं. Till then get a good match CMAT score. Hopefully with my profile building sessions. Then go for the GDs and then take it on from there. Thank you so much, all of you. It was wonderful, being there. Swasti and the entire Festa team. Thank you so much, Swasti, Himanshu, and all of you. Thank you, Anjuma, my colleague, for hosting me for this session. We still have a huge number of audience. I know you don't want to leave, but connect with me on WhatsApp. We'll have personalized Zoom calls, 1-to-1, 5 students, 4 students, 1 student. Network, guys, network, let's take it forward. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of opportunity. For me, every challenge is an opportunity. Every problem is an opportunity. The glass is never 20%. The glass is never 20% full or 80% empty. It all depends upon the way you look at it. So please call it 20% full, never call it 80% empty. I think that's where, and remember, life is not black and white anymore. Everything is shades of gray, darker shades of gray, lighter shades of gray, but shades of gray. Let's minimize those shades of gray and take it forward. Thank you so much, all of you. Wonderful having you here. Send me a text on WhatsApp. My office will get back to you regarding 1 or 2 demo sessions, but don't wait for that. You're going to pay $300 tonight. 12 is the deadline. Get in touch, take the scan sports, take it on. All the very best. Happy profiling. See you all in great companies or in great business sooner than later. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Anjuma. Thank you.